morning. I'm Randy, K7TQ, and in this video I'd like to share a little bit of what I've done with StreamDeck in order to start some programs and make it useful for ham radio applications. This is my desktop, and I've cleared it out, so I just have two icons up here that we'll need for this video. This is my StreamDeck. It's the 6-key version. Perhaps the 15-key version would have been better, but I make do with this 6-key version. This is what it looks like initially, and for this demo, I will use the folder demo, and you can see that I have 5 empty buttons and 1 up arrow, which takes me back. So the first thing let's just start a simple program. The one that I choose is we'll start the YCC SO2R Mini. That's the program that controls my box that switches the audio and the keying between the 2 radios that I use. So the steps to do that, we just click on it and it opens up. It doesn't always open in the same place, but approximately the same place. And I have it start immediately, so I don't have to start it up. So we need to make this start. So we'll stop it and close it. And let's open the StreamDeck on screen. And it shows the same thing that's on the physical StreamDeck. In order to start a program, the action that we need is open. It's down here in System. All the actions are over here on the side, and you simply grab the one that you want and drag it onto one of the buttons. There, we did that. Let's give it a title, and since it's already open, let's just call it YCC SO2R. Then we need to tell it what the application is. So hit these little 3 dots, you get a browser, and it's, I know in advance that it's in program files. I have 2 hard drives. This is on the C one. Here it is down here, and we need to open the exe file. Perhaps you can use the shortcut, but I prefer to use the exe file. And we open it, and it picked up the icon for it. Now let's test it to make sure that it works. StreamDeck doesn't have a lot of ability to help you with the debugging, so I think it's useful to always try the pieces as you do it. So try it. So we'll push the button, and indeed it did open it like it should. So let's close that and go on. Now, what I use the StreamDeck for is to open several of the programs that I need to go with my logging program, which is N1MM. So that's what I'll demonstrate. We could just add more buttons to do the other pieces, open N1MM, open some of the other programs, but we can be a little more sophisticated than that. We can use, in StreamDeck, there's a multi-action. That allows us to do several things sequentially. Here's multi-action, so you take it and drop it onto another one, onto another empty button. Before we do that, before we use the multi-action, we ought to get a couple of additional things to help us out. So we'll go back one, and we'll open the window. Or not the window, but we'll open the store. So we click on that one, and here's a bunch of interesting things. What we want are the plugins, and the first one that we want is called Super Macro. So let's go up here to the search and type in Super, and all we had to do is Super Macro, and there it shows up. And it says it simulates both keyboard and mouse, and it has some other stuff. I've already installed it, so it says uninstall, but if you haven't done it for the first time, it will say install. So you click on that, which again I've already done, so I don't need to do that. And then it'll show up over here in the list of actions. The next one that we need is mover and resizer. So is type in mover, and there it is, mover, Windows mover and resizer. It says it allows you to control the position and size of applications on your desktop, or is what the rest of it says. Again, it would have install if you haven't already done it, but I've already installed it. So we're good on that one. And the third one that we need is called Advanced Launcher. And here it is right here. And as on all of them, if you click on that, then it gives you a further description of it. It says Smart Application Launcher for the StreamDeck with a bunch of customizable options. We'll need that in order to start N1MM. And again, if you haven't installed it, this will say install, but I've already done that, so we don't need that. So I don't need to do that. That's all we need from the plugin. So we'll close the store, and then to make our life a little bit easier, we need one more. It's mouse location, and that's down here in the super macro set that we loaded. And take the mouse location and let's drop it on an empty one, and I'll show you what the value of that is. Now let's go back to to this multi-action. Let's give it a title, and let's call it K3 for CW. And it tells us drag an action from the right and drop it here. The first one that we want is, let's open the YCC like we did before. So as we already demonstrated, that's open. So you drag and drop it there, go down to the title, and let's call it YCC SO2R. We need to tell StreamDeck what the file we want to open is. So that's these three little dots. And this one is also on the C drive in program files. Well, we already knew that's where it was. Here it is. We open the XE interface, and there it is. Let's test it. So we press the K3 for CW. Well, first I'm going to move this out of the way. I've got two monitors here, and I can only show one at a time. So let's press the button. Yep, brought it up, so that's good. Let's stop that and close it again. Now that one was fast, but not all of them are. The actions, so it's useful to put a delay between all the actions, or at least many of the actions. So I'm going to put a delay between all of them. Here's the delay. It's one of the StreamDeck built-in ones. So drag and drop the delay over there. The delay is a default of 1,000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. That's plenty good for this particular one. So we'll just leave it at that. I don't put a title in it. It's pretty obvious what it is. The next one is we want to move the YCC so it's always in the same place. As I said before, when you start that particular program, it comes up in about the same place, but not in exactly the same place. You need it in exactly the same place in order to be able to simulate the mouse movements that you would do when you can just look at the thing. So we want to move it to exactly the same, to a location that's out of the way of N1MM and in exactly the same place, so we can use the mouse keys. That particular one is Windows Mover. It's probably down here toward the bottom, and here it is in Windows Mover, and the action is Windows Mover, so we'll drag and drop it. Let's give it a title. Let's call it Move YCCC. We need to tell it what the application is. Your choices are the current focused window or a specific application. I prefer to do the specific application, so I'm positive that it always starts in the same place. or always works on the same application. We need that to that application to be running, so I'll start SO2R again, the mini program. And we need to reload the apps, because in the pick list here, it wouldn't have been in there initially, but now it is in the pick list. So you go and find it, lots of things running, most of them are background things, and there it is, SO2R interface. And now we need to tell it where we want it to be. The monitors are described in X and Y locations. The X of 0 is in the upper left-hand corner, and it goes over to the right. The Y is in the upper left-hand corner, and it goes positive downward. I had to do this by experimenting, and the particular numbers that I found were 2000 for the X and 472 for the Y. You can choose which screen. There, I've got two screens and they both appear here. I didn't have such good luck in doing that. I just did trial and error. I started with an X of 100 and a Y of 100, and that would have put it up in the corner. And then I moved it around, and like I say, trial and error, that got me what I need. There's probably better ways to do it, so you can experiment with that, but that works. Okay, now let's try it. Let's close this so it gets out of the way, and let's try our multiple functions. And indeed, it did move it to where I want it to be. It was up here. Now it's down here. That is another one that took a while. So let's put another delay in. And perhaps the easiest way is to go here, highlight the delay, copy it, move down here, and paste it. And this one, since moving things takes a little bit longer, I'm going to make that 3,000 seconds or 3,000 milliseconds, or a 3-second delay. Now what we want to do is make some changes to the SO2R Mini. We want to press the stop button and switch it to manual, and then make sure it's in transmitter 2 and in receiver 2. So in order to do that, we need the super macro. And super macro is over here on the side. It's down here at the bottom, or at least mine, it's down at the bottom. Drag and drop it. Let's give it a title, and let's call it manual mode for YCCC. Now is where the where that additional macro that we put in, or one of the buttons that we put in, comes in handy. We put the mouse over the stop. That's the first thing we want to do. And then over here on the physical StreamDeck, we tap the press to start, and it shows us that we've got 150 and 665. One of the nice things about that little button is if you hold it, it will copy those values to the clipboard. So in short press macro, we tell it what we want it to do. And the magic for that is 2 curly brackets, and then mouse, X, Y, and a semicolon, and then the X value, and then a comma, and then the Y value. But since it's on the clipboard, we can just do Control V, and there I put those 2 values in, and then you need to end it with 2 more curly brackets in the other direction. That put the mouse over the stop button. Now we need to tell StreamDeck to press the left mouse button. That magic word is 2 more of the curly brackets, and then L, mouse, and then 2 curly brackets to close that. And anytime that one of the macros is good, is proper, it will turn a different color. Then I think it's useful to to put a comment so that when we go back and look at it sometime later, we'll remember what the heck those things are supposed to do. The magic for that is 2 curly brackets, 2 forward slashes, 2 more curly brackets, and then whatever you want it to do, the comment that you want. So the comment here is press stop. In order to get all the other ones that you want, you do the similar thing, put the mouse over where you want it to be, press the Where Mouse button on the physical StreamDeck, and then enter it just like I did for the stop. I've already done that for all of them, and so I'm going to put those in now. Those are the macros that you need to make the adjustment to the SO2R Mini. You can do it for any other programs as well. I tried this capture keystroke. I couldn't figure out how to make it work, but I'm sure that it's usable. So now we're good. We've got, we open the SO2R box, we wait a little while, we move it to where we want, and then we make some adjustments to it. Let's test it. So we'll stop this, close it, and go over here to the physical StreamDeck, push the button, and there it stopped it, pushed the manual SO2R, changed it to TX2 and RX2, and we're good to go on that. So that worked very nicely too. Let's put another delay in. So we copy that one, come down here, paste it, and this one took a long time to do, so we'll leave it at 3 milliseconds, or 3 seconds, 3,000 milliseconds. The next thing we want to do is to start N1MM. And I use INI files to make it so for specific radios or for whether I want both radios going, that takes an INI file. So you can't do that with just the open like we did with the SO2R box. That takes advanced launcher. Here's advanced launcher. So we drag that, drop it in. Let's give it a title, and let's call it N1MM for K3CW. We need to tell it what application we want to run. So we go to choose file, we get the browser. Again, it's in programs x86, N1MM, and we want the program that actually starts N1MM, which is this one, N1MM logger.net.exe. So we click on that, say open, and there it is. And then down here, this is where we put the INI file, the argument, or another word for that would be parameters that go on the start line. But that goes in arguments, and that one is, the magic there is INI equals, and what I use for my K3 to start it in CW is K3CW INI. We don't need any of these things, but I'm sure they have uses. So now we're ready to go. Let's, we've got to have each of the programs always in a, or not each of them, but we got to have SO2R interface in the same physical setup every time. So let's undo the manual, leave the start immediately there, and close it. Now let's test our button. So we go over here and we hit the K3 for CW to test it. There it opened the SO2R box. It moved it. It's waiting a while. It made the changes that we want. So it just works off the K3. Here comes N1MM starting up. And there's how I had the last contest. And the SO2R program is out of the way. It's in a nice position. And you're ready to start operating on in a contest. So everything's set up for us. here's what I have in the big one. So let's get out of this test stuff, and we'll go back of all these buttons. SO2R for CW, SO2R when the K2 is on a high band, and press that. Started the SO2R mini, started the waterfall band map for both radios, make some adjustment to waterfall band map for the contrast and for the zoom on both of them, and brought up in 1mm, and it's ready to go. In this particular one, I have the SO2R mini controller off on the other screen, and I have other windows on the other screen. So it did all those steps. So hopefully this is giving you some ideas on how you can use StreamDeck to start your ham radio programs that the logger probably doesn't open automatically for you. Thanks for watching.